Yo, welcome back to another episode of Savs and Four podcast. We got the whole crew here. We got Dave, myself, Brad the
What's up?
GM. We got Terrence out of Charlotte. We got BT, and we got Dre from PG County. As always, shout out to Corey as he won't be joining us this evening. But shout out to him and Dave for doing a great recap of All Star Weekend for the NBA. Want to make sure we shout them out as well.
Appreciate you.
We are going to get started with a topic we kind of touched on here or there, but we want to give it its full attention now because we are coming up on March. March Madness is right around the corner for NCAA basketball hoop fans, for women's and men's. And we had an incident over the weekend at a Wake Forest Duke game. I'm sure most people have heard of it. If you've been under a rock, Wake Forest defeated Duke. Duke was ranked in the top 10. The kids and fans decided to storm the court. In their court storming, one fan ended up running into Filipowski for Duke, one of their star players, injuring him in the process. Um, Field storming, court storming, whatever you want to call that, NCAA football or basketball has always been a topic of discussion for fan safety, player safety, coaches safety. For over the last couple of years, we've seen more incidents where players of the opposing team get into it with fans and some of these kids get into it with them. They're supporting their team, and things happen. We understand, but some of it is just unnecessary in the process. Coaches try to take their kids off the court. I remember a particular incident, and I don't know if the guys remember it. I don't know if that was a Duke or Kentucky game where he took all the star players off the court and put in some backups, and people thought that was kind of messed up. Why would you put the backups in harm's way? But hey, you want to make sure your guys are ready for deep postseason runs. So I'm not going to, if I know it's about to happen, I'm going to do everything in my power to keep my players safe. And, unfortunately, I got to have somebody on the court via rules. So kind of want to get your guys, full take on what should be done about court storming. Has it, gotten to the point where they need to put more security? Are you going to allow teams to say, hey, y'all got it, we're going to walk off the court, let y'all celebrate, run the clock out? What are your guys' thoughts on this whole situation in general and things of that nature? We all have our biases. A lot of us are Carolina fans. Dre's a diehard Maryland fan. We all say fuck Duke all the time, but we do want to see the best players on the court at any given time. And Filipowski getting hurt has major implications, in Duke's postseason run if they want to try to go for a national title. So what are your guys' thoughts about this whole in particular situation with
I'll
the court
start this
storming
off.
in basketball?
Well, Kyle Filipowski is actually playing tonight, so fortunately he didn't get hurt too bad. I just wanted to mention that. He's actually playing right now as we record.
Thank you for that.
It just shows that these ADs, these commissioners, the NCAA as a whole, doesn't have a clue of what they're doing. And when the SEC and the Big Ten lead the NCAA to rot to hell, this is another prime example of why. Because the NCAA, these athletic directors are incompetent to the max. You are Wake Forest. You know before the game even starts, a couple of days before the game starts, you know that if you win this game, it is highly likely it's going to be a court storm. That was a top 10 Duke team. Why were you not prepared? Why did you not have extra security? Why do you not have the guys you see in the yellow jackets, the security, build a wall around the Duke players? And I think, who was it? Marcus King. You brought a great point. I'm not going to blame Kyle Filipowski for what happened, but you have to be more aware. Why were you on the other side of the court, not near your bench? It's literally 2 seconds up in the game. You know what's about to happen. Why are you on that side of the court? You should have a little bit more awareness to be on the other side of the court. What happened to him should never happen, but you have to prevent what you can control. Control what you can control as much as possible. If I'm a player, I know that they're about to storm the court, and it's 2 seconds left, and all I gotta do is inbound the ball. I'm going right there near the bench. Let them inbound the ball. They're gonna win the game anyway. Get the hell off the court. But again, it's not his fault. It's the people who run college sports, and you know, people wonder why college sports is in the predicament that's in, where it's basically becoming minor league sports. This is why, because imagine if he did get hurt and it cost Duke, a chance at a ACC tournament championship run or NCAA tournament run. Imagine Kyle Filipowski punched somebody and they decided to sue him. I mean, we've seen it before with Garrett Blunt punching in the face. Fortunately, he didn't get sued or anything, but it could happen.
That shit was crazy.
That was wild.
And quite
I
honestly,
remember that.
And he still ended up being
I
the
don't
Super
blame
Bowl champ.
I
Yeah.
don't blame Garrett Blunt. I'm really surprised it doesn't happen more often. These are drunken 21-year-old fans. They can
Facts.
say and do whatever
Yeah.
they want to these players, and the players always have to be held to a higher standard than other people. But at what point do you just become a flight risk and you have to defend yourself because you feel like you're in danger? Because it's a lot of people, man. It's a lot of people, but that's not my take, man. These ADs and the NCAA are just completely incompetent, and it's been shown once again. They don't have a clue.
I mean, it's either one or two things. Like, so I mean, this is a big tradition in college basketball, but it's either one or two ways that this can go. Like, you set limitations around fans coming to the court, or you just don't have court storming at all. But the thing with putting limitations around court storming is that it's not always going to be the game is out of hand with a few seconds left. It's not going to be like that. There may be games in which the home team hits a buzzer beater and you're not going to have time because like the fans are going to be excited and they're going to come on the court right away. You're not going to have time to put the security measures in place or confirm that they're in place before fans can rush on the court. And the players are already going to be on the court anyway, so there's not going to be time for them to get off. So it's either one or two things. You either just ban it completely, don't allow it, like don't allow fans to be on the court. I know like some conferences have, if you court storm, it's like $1 million fine on the institution or whatever. But it's hard to put limitations on it because you have situations in which you just won't be able to control it, and there, like no matter what security you have, you just won't be able to control it. So it is important. Wait for us to not do the proper. They did not have the proper measures in place, for that, and that's what made things a lot worse. I mean, it was going to happen because Wake Forest won the game, and it just happened, at other schools. Creighton just did it the other day. But yeah, I mean, it's either one or two things. You either ban it or you don't.
My thing is, real quick, before I let Dre and BT jump in, like you said, that whole $1 million fine to me is nothing. These ADs, these colleges make billions of dollars within an athletic, year from fall to spring. $1 million is a drop in the bucket to them. So, I mean, it's not really an incentive to stop these, like Terrence said, these 18 to 21-year-olds from running on the court, because $1 million, you just drop that in the bucket and keep it pushing. You're going to make that back the next week. So, I think either the penalties have to be a little bit harsher, or like you said, Dave, you're going to have to really start either cracking down or eliminating it all. Dre, what are your thoughts on it?
I mean, honestly, the most important thing is that old boy didn't get injured enough that it affected his draft stock.
Facts.
Like forget about what Duke trying to do with him and everything. Let's just talk about the player in itself, because potential lottery pick or late round first round pick, a major ankle injury or something, a lower body injury, and then he's not going to the draft no more. So I think that's something to consider. And the fact that this is like the second time court storming came up, because of course we had the incident with Caitlin Clark a month ago. And that's pretty much the number one pick in the WNBA draft, and she decides to go out. So I just think, in my opinion, I don't think court storming should go. I mean, I think it's just too rooted in college sports that when your team upsets a rival, or you beat the number 1 or the number 5 team at home, it's just like you're going to be excited. You want to storm the court. I just think universities just need to do a better job of getting the players, and then like teams in the facility just need to have conversations with each other before the game. If you know it's going to be a big game, like if their punk asses ever come back to Maryland and want to smoke, like there just got to be a conversation between the teams and in the arena about, okay, this may happen. So what we gonna do if it's like a buzzer beater scenario like Dave was talking about earlier, or we know that the game's in hand, let's just go ahead and start moving in the right direction and get y'all guys off the court so nobody gets hurt. So I think it's one thing. Honestly, I understand the concern, but honestly, it just like you hear Kansas and it just sounds like two salty programs that they know when every time they lose, it's a storm storming going their way. So I hear the kind of bitterness in it, but I mean that's what you sign up for when you are coaches and stars going to this institution. So to that, I just need them to start being babies, but just be glad that nobody got hurt in this situation. The draft stock is intact. The bag is still on its way. But if there's any penalties, if he did get hurt, then Wake Forest would have to be like liable for like everything going on in that man's future if he was getting hurt on that court that day.
I agree with that. BT, what are your thoughts?
All right, I'm gonna keep this short and sweet, man. I agree with all y'all points. Y'all made valid points, so I ain't gonna talk about that. I'm glad Buddy's okay. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to see nobody get hurt. I don't care what team you play for. I might not like you, but I'm glad you didn't get hurt. I'm glad you're playing tonight. But let's be real, man. This is a big deal because it's Duke, bro. If this was UNCW, UNC Asheville, A&T, like HBCU, nobody would care about this story. It's a big deal because it's Duke, and John Shire made it a big deal. You know what I'm saying? That's why it's a big deal. So he's playing tonight. You know what I'm saying?
And he a first round pick. If this was like the third string point guard, yeah, it'd be like, oh damn, Cug got hurt. Well,
yeah. They wouldn't make it a big deal.
They wouldn't make it. You got a point. If it was a bench warmer and Josh Hyatt put his bench warmers in and somebody would have got their ankle rolled on and it was a third screen power forward, nobody would have cared. It would have been a topic. It would have been a topic for like all of 5 seconds, and it would have moved on like everything else does.
Again, Caitlin Clark and this dude, it was just big time names.
Big time names. Like Dre, you said,
but
first round draft picks, potentially both of them.
And the number one pick for Caitlin. Yeah, but with this have better security measures, man. Like I don't understand why you don't have security guards out there. More security guards. We got a top 10 team coming to your crib. And
matter of fact, we're not even answering the right questions right now. We're not even asking the right question. Dude, why are y'all losing to Wake Forest in the first goddamn play? Let's talk about that.
Hey, I mean,
because
man.
I mean, I understand, but still, if Duke talking about they want to have NCAA championship aspirations and everything. You trying to make up ground because they lost to you guys. Like, what y'all doing out there losing to Wake Forest in the first place? I get it. I understand what happened. I understand Wake a better team than expected, but I mean, if certain people did their jobs, we not having this discussion. So that's all I gotta say. I ain't letting Duke off the hook.
I ain't letting off the hook either, man. But Wake nice though, bro. They got a point guard that's gonna be a first round pick. You know what I'm saying? So they got some dogs over there. But yeah, this have better security measures. You know what I'm saying? Have more security, and it should be like a time limit, man. Give them 10 seconds to get off the court, and then you rush the court. You know what I'm saying? Like right when the buzzer sounds, that's wild to me. But it's fast. So
I like that idea of saying, hey, get security measures in place, block off everything, give 8 to 10 seconds for the visiting team to get off the court, and then let the fans go at it. Mm-hmm. Let the fans go at it at that point, but give the visiting team a chance to get back to the back.
Yeah.
I got a random question. I got a random question though. But what if like one of the players who was talking greasy to you on the DMs type tip, and you gotta catch this man lacking on the court, bro? I'm just saying, dog. I'm just saying.
That's a whole separate agenda, boy.
That's a whole different agenda.
That's a whole separate agenda. Oh no, man! You talking about having to drop on the op, bro? Like,
I'm just saying, man.
Yeah, so that whole like giving the team time. I remember like Seth Greenberg talked about when he was at Virginia Tech. they would like have like a minute, like 1 minute time, like one kind of like a countdown until you can like storm the court or whatever at Virginia Tech. So, I mean, that I feel like that's just hard to respect. That's hard for the students and the fans to respect that. I would find it hard to have people held accountable to a certain security protocol like that. It works. I've seen it work before. Like
these are 18 to 21-year-olds.
Like I've seen it. Like I remember NC State stormed the court one time. The PA announcer told like everyone to hold back until the other team was off. I've seen it happen in numerous places. I mean, yeah, like when a team like Kentucky or some top 10 team, like especially if you're unranked, like you gotta have those measures in place. Like it's happened even like with rivals, like, you know, people just do it because, you know, people are, you know, are excited. People just want to do it because it's part of the sport.
I will say to the kids, keep court storming or field storming pure. Get off your phones. Look where y'all going. It's like driving. You gotta be able to see where y'all going when y'all running out there. Get off the phones. You don't gotta record every damn thing, please. Like keep that moment pure. Be in the moment. Go celebrate with the players that won the game for y'all. Like celebrate. Get off your phones, man. Like at least look where y'all going before y'all get on the phones. Like please.
That's all I was gonna say too. Like wait till you get on the field or the court and then pull out your phone. But yeah, that running with trying to hold your phone and record, and you get trampled, and it becomes a tragedy. We don't need all that. Like that's yeah. So going back to kind of what you said, you know, Dre, like you said, why is Duke even losing to Wake Forest? You know, Dave dropped some knowledge before we got on tonight. This is the second most times in a college basketball season that ranked teams have been beaten by unranked teams. So it kind of brings the question, is there more parity? Top 10 teams, excuse me. So is there more parity spread out amongst the NCAA teams now? We've got NILs, you've got transfer portal. So is the talent now starting to shift away from some of you still got your powerhouse programs. You're still going to have your Carolinas, your Dukes, your Kansas, your Kentuckys that still get a majority of the talent. But is talent now dissipating away from some of the major colleges and going to some of the other schools and creating this more of a parity across the board? You know, you look at the top 10 right now, you really look at it, you still have your powerhouse programs. You have your Dukes, your Carolinas. You know, you've got a program like UConn that's number 3 right now. Arizona, who's a traditional powerhouse, is number 6. But you got teams like Iowa State in the top 8. That's a top 8 team. A team like, Houston's been, you know, they were a powerhouse. They kind of dropped off. Now they're back up there. They're the number 1 team in the country. A team like Purdue, who's more maybe known for other things, maybe football, stuff like that, is now a top, you know, number 2 team in the country. Yeah. Tennessee, a football school. So in your opinion, is the parity starting to happen within college basketball across the board?
Yes and no. I mean, what we got right now is you got teams that have star players on them rather than where it used to be star players being on teams. And what that means is it's a lot of like teams. So it's really about the school rather than the player nowadays. Even people probably won't believe it because it's AAU culture. People still keep up with the rankings, but a lot of top players we just saw play a couple of weeks ago in the NBA showcase on All-Star Weekend. They playing for G League Ignite and all these other with G League play teams or whatever.
Overtime Elite.
Overtime Elite too.
Yeah.
So like your NBA caliber players that you used to seeing at least play for 1 year, like Zion, them, they're not really there anymore. So yeah, Kansas, Duke, Carolina is still getting good players, but it's still not the same to the top tier player where it's like, yeah, he's going to be the number 1 draft pick, or this person's going to be the number 3 draft pick. Yeah. Like American-born players are either going to do the G League Ignite play, or it's really the foreigners are really taking over these top spots now. So it's kind of even in that sense because coaches actually had to start coaching in an era where everything's a little bit more spread. So it's easier to score. So it doesn't matter if you have a 5-star recruit versus having a 3-star recruit. When you have a good system and you play a good defense and you have a good trap and a press, anything can happen nowadays. So that's why you're seeing a lot of these teams lose to unranked teams. And then you also, most of these games happen on the road too as well.
Yeah.
So it's like, so there's got to be like some home court advantage factor coming in sometimes. And you're going to be able to catch teams slipping because no matter how good you are, you just feel more comfortable shooting the ball at home.
That's a fact too.
Yeah, I was gonna add on, man. You look at most of the mock drafts, like consensus top 5. You got 3 international players that are going to be in the top 5. 2 from France, and then Topic, and then there's another guy from France who's going to be in the top 10. You have a couple of G League Ignite guys that are hovering anywhere in the top 10. Matas, Bazilis, Ron Holland. Then you got Cody Williams, who, let's be honest, I don't really watch them play once. Colorado's not on TV a lot. They're just not. It's Colorado.
Yeah. I gotta see it because I'm looking at the mocks and they saying he's pretty much like a project, but he's a
project. I can 90% confirm he's a pro. I've seen him play 3 times, and I think all 3 times he's played with the mask on. I saw him against Arizona. I think again against UCLA or USC. But he's a nice player, but he's not a transcendent player. He's not someone that's going to come in and change the franchise right away. He's going to need some work. I think when he gets to the league, he's going to need 1 year in the G League. So I don't know if you take the risk of drafting him that high.
So you're saying he has like top 5 ability, but not really a franchise player.
He does, and you also have to take into account like the team he's on, the competition he's playing. But from what I've seen, I don't see a lot of the hype around him.
Okay. My fault, T. Go ahead and continue, bro.
No, I was saying, like, I'm looking at his comp. I'm just looking at his profile. So Cody Williams, 6'8", who's more of a complimentary scorer and passer. You don't want a complimentary scorer in the top 5. I'm just being real.
Yeah.
If you're being real about it.
Good driver, good in transition, spot up shooter. It says high-end role player projection from some scouts.
Oh wow.
Mid first round.
This is your top college basketball prospect.
So everybody above him is international or like overtime.
So I'm looking at mock draft. I'm looking at the Bleacher Report one. Yeah, so I'm looking at Bleacher Report.
Okay.
So I go all over the place. Alexander Sarr, number 1. No surprise there. He's 7'1" from France. Zachary Rissacher, number 2, 6'8", can shoot, athleticism, can play D, shooting 45% from 3. I mean, yeah. Nikola Topic at 3, especially if he goes to the Spurs, that's a perfect fit because they need a point guard. 6'6", 200-pound point guard. He's only 18 years old.
Oh, trust me, Silver's setting that up. Don't worry. they setting that up.
I have a feeling they are too, Dre. I have a feeling they are too.
Spurs. I mean, Rob Dillingham could go to if they want that type of point guard, but I really feel like with Wembanyama, they don't want that type of point guard. And then Ron Holland, even though Ron Holland's draft stock is up and down, but he can be anywhere. His athleticism is top 5. His shooting has been inconsistent, but if he's shown flashes of shooting ability, so he has that type of talent. Matas Bazulis is number 5. We've seen more and more people high on him lately. He's been more aggressive. He has 3-point range, can put the ball on the floor. And then, like I said, now Rob Dillingham is a guy that's interesting, but the problem with Rob Dillingham is he's only 6'3", 175 pounds.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
That's kind of
soaking wet.
And
it's kind of like,
I mean, he's electric in college, but in the NBA, he can be a guy like Lou Williams, Malik Monk of that ilk. But we've seen it took Malik Monk a couple years to really get, and of course he had to go to a team that the right team because it wasn't going to work out with Charlotte. Yeah. And then Reed Shepherd. I mean, he can shoot the ball, but I mean, this is a top 10 guy, Reed Shepherd. I mean, he's solid, but this is in a normal year. This is not a top 10
player. T, please tell me his player comp's not Tyler Hero.
Dante White Dante.
Hey, what?
Wow.
Hey, yo.
I think this goes to what Dre was talking about earlier with college basketball as a whole and why we talked about before we got on. Why is there not really been as much buzz, on a national scale of college basketball? I mean, you look at the mock drafts. A lot of these guys, top players, are coming from overseas. I mean, look at the NBA right now, and look at what's in this mock draft. There's going to even be more. There's more and more guys coming from France. There's more and more guys coming from Africa, Serbia. I mean, they're coming from all over the place.
Yeah, Lithuania, all the places.
The old Yugoslavia is coming to try to take over our league, and I'm not trying to stand for it.
We talked about this in our chat. The NBA, these scouts and executives would rather take a guy from overseas than an American-born player
because they're more prepared.
That's the era we're in. That's the era we're in right now. Because they tried this trick before, and it just wasn't working. But now the talent is just you can't ignore it no more. Like Giannis was came out of nowhere, and now he's a top 3, maybe the best NBA player in the league right now. Joker is up for the discussion, Embiid's up for the discussion. Look, top 4 players are not from here.
Top 5, you want to count Shea?
Exactly. Yeah, so
yeah.
Canada's coming in with a lot of heat, so
because what happened was, and I know we want to switch topics a little bit, so I won't be too long. When we're coming up, top prospects might have stayed 2 years, sometimes 3 years. Then we went to transition one and done, but there's still those Kevin Durant type of guys, those Michael Beasley guys, Derrick Rose, Anthony Davis. We saw those top guys coming in college, but now because G League Ignite and guys come overseas, the last really great college basketball star was Zion Williamson. Then when you factor in the coaches that have left college basketball lately, the Fed with NIL, Fed with the transfer portal, Roy Williams is gone, Coach K is gone.
Jay Wright.
Bob Huggins from West Virginia.
Huggins is gone. Jim Boeheim is gone.
Yeah.
I mean, all these, because for a long time was about the coaches. The coaches really were stars of the sport because they were there every year. Of course, the players were stars, but really about the coaches. But who's that star coach? I mean, John Calipari's and Bill Self were really the last of that generation.
And Patino.
Rick Pitino. Rick Pitino lit up his team like that. Yo, I ain't never seen no coach talk about their team in the press like he did. He was he basically just said,
we know Rick Pitino Teflon. Rick Pitino Teflon, man. He untouchable.
Seton Hall, them niggas lost to Seton Hall. He was like, look, my team ain't shit right now. I knew we weren't gonna win in the first year, but this is beyond me. Right?
Teflon, man.
Dog.
Can't touch him.
Next game, he come out in the white suit, get a W.
I blame the TV networks though about why college basketball doesn't get a lot of buzz. Blame ESPN. I mean, the first time we heard them mention anything about college basketball, Get Up or First Take was the court storming incident.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, then, you hear them talk actually more about Caitlin Clark than about the men's game because Caitlin Clark's a star, but Caitlin Clark's been in college for multiple years, and that's the whole point. There's no stars, and then the networks aren't pushing college basketball either. So we're kind of here where it's basically a one-month sport. To be honest with you, I mean, of course, but
damn, that's sad.
Casuals only going to follow college basketball for gambling and March Madness.
Facts. Yeah, the little bracket pools at their job, the little bracket pools and the local barbershop, and turn the papers in and stuff like that, make that money. So,
Yeah, the most ESPN talks about college basketball is on Saturday when they do college game day. Whenever they have the women's college game day, sometimes it'll be on Sports Center, but they're mainly talking about the number one seeds or who the projected number one seeds are and how far they could go. So they're not talking about much. It's only limited times. I mean, it's still dominant. The airways are still dominated by the NBA, and then some football talks. So
no, it's a lot of
especially
with
the combine going on. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Free agency, things
a lot of NBA playoff talk.
Bama's getting franchise tag is getting more buzz than who's going to win the conference tournaments from the East.
Crazy.
So speaking of, we mentioned the NBA. We're in the second half of the season. All-Star break is over. Hoops are picking up. Teams are starting to try to make that final push to make the play-in tournament. Some are trying to solidify their spot in the playoffs. And, you got Boston is leading everybody by a wide margin. They are 46-12, 7.5 games above the Cleveland Cavaliers that sit in second place. And then a game behind them is the Bucks at 3. And then to wrap out the top 4 will be the Knicks, followed by the Heat and the 76ers to round out the top 6 seeds in the East. So, we know what Boston is in the regular season. They're going to put up these amazing numbers. I mean, I think they're 27-3 at home, dominant team within their division. They're scoring. Their differentials is 10.5. Is there any realistic chance of a team, guys on the pod, is there a team that can give them a run for their money in the playoffs? We see a sneaky little team right there in Miami at 5 who gives them trouble when the playoffs comes around. Playoff Jimmy, Philadelphia sitting right there at 6. I think they're trying to hold on to see what the update is and the status is going to be for Embiid down the stretch. The Knicks are just banged up, and we know how Thibodeau is with his teams. And the Bucks, unfortunately, are being coached by fraud, so we don't know what they're going to do and how they're going to do it, but it's bound to happen at some point. So what do you think, is anybody capable in the East to kind of just make that push and kind of give Boston, when it comes to the playoff time, a run for their money, or is this Boston's best chance of getting back to the finals?
To give Boston who will give Boston trouble?
Yeah, who will give Boston the most trouble? Because nobody's catching them. They're 7.5 ahead. Nobody's catching them for the 1 seed unless there's an epic collapse. But who would give them trouble come the playoff seeds?
I'll tell you who will give Boston the most trouble. Joe Mazzulla, the 3-point line, and analytics. Those are the 3 things. No, those are the 3 people and the 3 things that will give Boston the most trouble.
That is the sad truth.
And then for the 4th one, I add Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum. Those are the 5 things that'll give Boston the most trouble.
So Dave's top 5.
Because really, you should get to the finals. You should get to the finals. Really.
If they don't get to the finals this year, bro, hang it up, man.
Look, let's go one by one in the East. Cleveland, too soft. Milwaukee, coaching concerns, and they can't play defense. New York, injuries. Miami, they struggle with injuries every single year, but somehow they're always competitive and everything. Okay, I get that. Cool. Philly, star player, injured. Orlando, nice story, but you're too young. Indiana, nice story, but you don't play defense. Okay, Chicago, no. Anyone else in the East, no. Boston, you should get to the East. You should get to the finals.
They should run.
Those are the 5 teams.
They should go on a Shaq Kobe type run where they don't lose a game they might not lose a game to the Eastern Conference Finals, in my personal opinion. They shouldn't.
No, they'll lose.
They'll lose.
They shouldn't.
No, they'll lose.
They will.
They shouldn't.
They will, but they should. They shouldn't. I mean, excuse me.
I'll give you a couple stats, Dave, to back up your point. Boston has the top net rating, the top offensive rating, and number 2 in defensive rating. I mean, we're going to keep it a stat, bro. They got 2 of the best defenders at the guard spots, bro, in the league, period. Drew and Derek White lock niggas up, bro.
They do.
Tatum defense, you can't sleep on Tatum. Tatum played good defense, too.
Yeah,
Brown played good defense. Brown played good defense. Rasheed Harris protects the paint. You know what I'm saying? Bro, I don't see nobody in the East giving them a run, man. I really don't. Bro.
But that's my problem with Boston. That's my problem with Boston. They can beat everybody and they can lose to everybody at the same time. It's another team that reminds me of that, but we say that for another. But that's Boston in a nutshell the last few years, because for some reason the Heat are like the Loyola Chicago of the NBA. They gonna bust your bracket. They gonna bust your bracket some way somehow. They gonna bust your bracket. They gonna bust your bracket,
bro. Drake, you read my mind. It's like, look, Miami is like Miami is that mid-major that is, you know they good in their conference. But when they get to that tournament, they go fuck some agendas up. But
exactly.
when they actually get to the NBA finals, when they get like when a
they get smoked,
gets to the Elite Eight or to the
Final Four, they get
exposed. That's why I'm tired of it, bro. I respect Spoelstra, one of the best coaches in the game. Jimmy Butler, a dog, bad man.
Yeah, it was cool. It was cool the first time, but last year finals
I don't want to see you just beating all these teams just to lose to the West. I don't want to see it. I don't want to see. Look, I don't want to see no 11 seed versus a 1, bro, in the national championship. I don't want to see that.
I never forget. I never forget when Shannon was still on Undisputed. The report came out. It was like, yeah, he pretty much is going to be on Undisputed until the finals is over. Literally, the next game, the finals was over. I said, well, there you go. Can we get that man? Can we get my man to Friday?
That's crazy.
That's what I mean, they got Hero and Rozier, but it's like the Heat almost coughed up a 3-0 lead. So we know, like, Boston, if you don't do it now, then
it's not going to happen.
It's a big if. It's a big if because obviously health, but if somehow Joel Embiid can get near what he was,
that's my number one. That's my threat.
He's the best player in the league. When you're the best player in the league, you have a chance, especially with guys as dominant as he is on the offensive end and what he does on the defensive end. But that is a big if. A lot of that's going to depend on where Philly is seated, who they play in the first round, and who they play in the second round, because they're not going to have home court. So if you play Cleveland in the first round, I'm taking Philadelphia over Cleveland. Then, if you have like the Bucks in the second round, that's a favorable matchup for them. Like I said, a lot of this could be a matchup.
I forgot.
But if they do somehow get to Boston, they can give them hell because they should have beat them last year. And Doc Rivers admitted if he just given the ball to Joel Embiid in Game 6 instead of letting Harden do what the hell Harden does.
I got a question. So, hold on. Is the East playoffs really dictated on Doc Rivers' performance, bro? Is this what it's really going to come down to, son? Is Doc? Does Doc? Oh my God! Where's Corey, bro? Where's Corey?
This is when we need Corey.
This is when we need Corey, bro.
Because Dre made a good point. It really is.
It's the play. I think the playoffs really going to be dictating on how good of a coach Doc Rivers is because he has the team. Like if you look at Milwaukee. They got the team. I know Dame player. And Dame. I know Dame's in a little fun. He's in a new city. He's going through personal issues and everything. I mean, but they won 3 straight now. So it seems like they've been clicking. Right before going into the All-Star break.
They beat Philadelphia without Embiid, and then they beat the Hornets, bro.
Okay.
It's like they beat the Hornets.
Hey, look, it's a step above from losing to the Grizzlies when they was down to like players from the stands. So
step in the right direction.
So
yeah,
it's a step.
You got players on the schedule, so yeah, you got players on the schedule. So
definitely. So crossing over to the other conference, the West is absolutely loaded. You got Minnesota and Oklahoma City are tied for the 1 seed as of right now. They got Denver at 3, Clippers at 4, Pelicans at 5, Phoenix at 6, and then the play-in is absolutely ridiculous with Sacramento, Dallas, Golden State, and the Lakers all in the play-in tournament. You are really looking at like 1 through 4 is only separated by 3 games. You can lose a game and drop from like the 1 seed down to like the 4 seed. It is absolutely crazy how deep the West is right now. What are your guys' thoughts on just where everything might end up in the West? Is Minnesota and Oklahoma City going to hold on and be 1, 2 in some type of order? Does Denver make a run late and get back to the 1 seed? You know, do the Clippers bounce back? I know they lost a couple in a row, but you know they are 6-4 in their last 10. The West is absolutely stacked from top to bottom. What are your guys' thoughts on the West?
I mean, you gotta prioritize health. You know, I think more than the seeding, especially if you're any of these teams in the top 6, you prioritize health because you're gonna have to play difficult teams like no matter what. Like if you want to get to, you're gonna have to play. You're gonna have matchup problems no matter what. No matter like Minnesota is gonna have to see either Dallas or Sacramento or Golden State in the first round. Like Oklahoma City, the same thing. Denver might have to play Phoenix or the Lakers. Like you're out the gate. You're gonna have a gauntlet. Like it's no easy pickings in the West. So I would say the main thing is prioritize health, and the way that Golden State is playing right now, I can almost guarantee they're gonna upset somebody in the first round. I can guarantee they're gonna upset somebody in the first round.
Wait, who are you talking about? I missed that.
Golden State.
Golden State?
Yeah.
Ooh. Okay.
Real quick, Dave.
They are 8-2 in their last 10. Go ahead, T.
I think if Denver somehow gets the 1 seed, because you got to remember, when you go to Denver, you're playing at altitude.
Thanks.
That gives them an advantage. If Denver somehow sneaks into the 1 seed, I'm not going to say they're only 2 games back, but they get the 1 seed, that's going to be a huge advantage for them. I'm not saying they're going to come out of the West, but that gives them a huge advantage if they get home court advantage throughout the Western Conference playoffs. And truthfully, the only team I can really see going in there and beating them if they have home court would be the Clippers. Just because off of veteran presence, coaching. So that could be an equalizer for Denver. But I agree with your point about health. But if Denver somehow gets that 1 seed, that's going to be huge for them. We saw it made a huge difference last year. So, but I mean, Dallas, you know, you lose a heartbreaking game, you go from like 5 or 6 down to 8. And speaking of Denver, they're playing Sacramento right now. Sacramento's a team that's dangerous as hell as a 7 seed currently, but I mean, it could be an 8 seed. You really want to see Sacramento can beat you in multiple ways with multiple weapons. So you really want to see that team in the first round.
That would be a fun matchup.
Phoenix is capable of, especially if they're healthy.
I mean, but y'all see a common theme. Just look at 1 through a 10. What do they all have in common? Either they have an emerging superstar or they already have superstars on this team. And it's not even just one, it's multiple. Outside of Minnesota, it's really just Ant-Man. We already know about Cat's going to be Cat's too soft, Rudy Holberg. Get the fuck out of my face with that. Like, but outside of that, cute story Minnesota, but we already know y'all not making no finals. But outside of that, you go down the road, it's like you're not hiding from nobody. You're going to have to match up with somebody who got some type of pedigree next to their name. So it's like you can try to play the seeding game all you want, win a few games here, win a few games. It's not going to matter. At this point, if you're in the West, the best thing you can do is just avoid the play-in so you can at least get a couple of days of rest. Outside of that, it really doesn't matter where you end up at. Maybe home court advantage is better for some teams, but
for home court advantage, I think Minnesota and OKC need home court advantage the most, especially in the first round. I think they need that the most.
I would definitely say OKC because that crowd is.
It's not really about getting the number 1 seed for Minnesota or OKC. That'd be great, but those teams need to be in the top 4. They need to be. Just because
they're in the top 4. Those teams they firmly in the top 4.
By the time we get to April, they need to be in the top 4. Because one, Minnesota is now the narrative on Ant-Man is get out the first round. That's the expectation for Ant-Man. Get out the first round. That's what if he can get out the first round, he can get to a second round, make it competitive. If Minnesota can be competitive, make it a 6-7 game series in the second round. That's that's a step in the right direction. OKC, the same thing. If OKC, this is already a big jump for them anyway. So, but you need that because OKC is one of the toughest places to play in the NBA, and they're going to restore the feeling a lot when we get to the playoffs. It's going to feel like what it used to feel like in the early 2010s. So, I think those two teams need it the most. I think Denver, it'll be nice for Denver to have it. I think it'll be the ultimate advantage if they're the number one seed, like T said. The Pelicans need it. Clippers don't really need. They just need to be healthy.
No.
They just need to be healthy. Phoenix just needs to be healthy, and I feel like they can benefit from home advantage too.
Sure, I think they actually play better on the road, to be honest with you. But the reason why Denver is good, no matter what they do, is because to me they got the best 1-2 punch when it matters in the playoffs. Because we know Murray be a fringe all-star caliber player during the regular season, but he's a whole different dude when he's in the playoffs. And he's proven it inside the bubble and outside the bubble. So you can drop that little narrative that it was just bubble Jamal. No, Jamal Murray's in. And the year that he was hurt, you saw where Denver was at. They was at the 6th seed. When he came back, they won the championship. So, and we saw Denver against Golden State the other night. Joker and Murray are held the guard in that fourth quarter. Golden State really didn't have no answer for them in that fourth quarter. So as long as that duo is healthy and tagged with that starting lineup, Denver is always going to be in contention for that finals.
Yeah, I'll say this. And Stephen A. said it last week, and he's right. Sam Presti, props to him, but now you're on the clock.
Oh yeah,
you're okay on the stadium. You have all these draft picks, which you're not going to use all of them. So you're going to make a big move at some point.
You got to make a move.
You have a 3 to 5 year window to really win a championship. You're not going to win it this year. Like you said, they took a huge leap this year, but in the next 3 to 5 years, you have got to at least get to a finals. With all these draft capital that you piled on, you can use it as trade bait. But the clock is starting as soon as their season's over, they're on the clock.
Yeah, I'm gonna say so. Like with all these draft picks and everything, what is the move? If it's not too early, I said, what is the move that they need if they don't win a championship or don't make it to a conference finals? What is out there they can make a move on with these draft picks, and what players do they gotta get rid of? Because you gotta get rid of something to get something. So.
What do you think they need? Like, what's their biggest need right now? Like, what are they missing?
I in the playoffs, to be honest with you, because they're a complete regular season team. I gotta see what their flaws are in the postseason.
I think that's what I'm thinking.
Honestly, OKC doesn't have much depth, to be honest with you. I think like looking at a player like just simulating what it would look like in the playoffs. I don't think they have the depth to be able to contend with the top teams in the West, like once they get, further into the playoffs.
Yeah, but the benefit that they have is they got 2 young stars that they can definitely have a luxury of playing 40+ minutes a night if they have to.
That's true.
At least.
They got 3 of them bad boys. Yep.
3. You got.
Oh yeah, Jalen Williams.
Chet,
yeah, 3.
SGA. Yep.
Yeah.
But they can only do that for 2 years. At some point, don't be like Tom Thibodeau. Like you got the luxury for at least these 2 years when you got them at this ages that you can play them 40+ minutes. But like you said, they're going to need depth at some point. But this is where we get to see where Aaron Wiggins looks like. Who else come off the bench? Yeah. I know they got Gordon Hayward to be a veteran.
The other Jalen Williams.
The other Jalen Williams.
Yeah.
So.
I do think they're going to make some moves with those draft picks that they have. I just wonder, do they go pick up thinking ahead, is there, if there's a veteran out there that they can go pick up that would help and not hinder the stars, like you said, Williams, SGA, Chet. Is there a vet out there that they can get?
You know who comes to mind?
I got something.
Chris Middleton.
Nah.
No. I don't know.
You go big game hunting, and guess who's a free agent? I don't know how it worked contractually. I'll have to look at it and see how the cap works out if a silent trade was possible. But why not bring back Paul George? It's a free agent.
He is a free agent.
You have draft picks.
That'd be a blow
to the Clippers. That'd be a blow to the Clippers.
Two birds with one stone.
Yeah.
If the Clippers get to the finals and play Boston, and let's just say they lose to Boston in 7 games, and Boston finally gets their chip, do you blow up that duo and say, okay, this didn't work? Because you're moving into a new arena.
Now, Paul George is a free agent.
He free agent.
So does Paul George make that decision?
Kawhi a free agent too, ain't he? Or is it next year?
He signed.
Okay.
Yeah.
Paul George really can change, well, not change, but he can really make it interesting because Philadelphia has cap space, and they're already talking about they might go after him. But if you're Oklahoma City, do a sign and trade. Like I said, I don't know how it works with their cap situation.
AT, I raised you because talking about the cap situation, I think it has to be one of those like sign and trade deal type of things where you guys send the Clippers like Lou Dort or Josh Gideon like a whole bunch of picks. It's going to be one of those signing trips just to make the contracts work. But I'm like, if you're going to shoot for PG, shoot for Siakam too, because he's a free agent too. And it's not guaranteed. It's not guaranteed he's going to he looks good on the Pacers right now, but it's not guaranteed. Like I know they gotta have some internal discussions every day to make sure he's going to come back so they didn't waste all that draft picks on just to get him for a 1-year rental or half a year rental, really. But
that is going to be interesting to see if Presti does go all in, like you said, Drake, and get if they go out there, Paul George. He
kind of has to. Because as good as a GM,
you got to do something. You got to do something with
as good as a GM, and I know it's all different scenarios, but he 3 caliber players left that organization.
Facts.
3 MVP caliber players left that organization, and they only had 1 finals appearance out of that. Mm-hmm. And he's able to move away from that situation and retool this organization to where it is right now. Those franchises are not that blessed to be in that type of situation because it wasn't that far removed from the KD, West, and Harden days where they at right now. Really like a 10-year. So to say that you did this twice in 10 years, that's really good as a GM. But you gotta get the hardware forth to show for it now.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I said Sam Presti is on the clock, and Stephen A. We know how Stephen A. can be, but he actually brought up a great point. So that's why I wanted to bring it up. Another team that's kind of a team that I feel like they're built just because of what they have that you don't want to see them in the playoffs is Dallas, because when you have Luka Doncic and Kyrie Irving, those are half-court playoff performers, and you got both of them playing at a high level right now. I know they lost on a heartbreaking buzzer beater, but Dallas was hot before the All-Star break.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. They had won 9 straight, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
All-Star break.
Yeah, but before the last loss, right? Yeah.
They're 7-3 in their last 10. So
as good as Luka is in the regular season, he's a better player in the playoffs.
Yeah.
And Kyrie Irving is a big shot taker and maker and can create. And then you add some size. I know we get on PJ Washington, but he does give them a little bit of what they needed.
He's a good fit for that team.
Yep. So, I mean, Dallas, if they can avoid the play-in, and well, hell, even in the play-in, you don't want to see Luka and Kyrie in the play-in either. But if Dallas can get out of the play-in,
that's why these play-in matches right now are really, really intriguing because you're going to have the Kings versus Dallas, and that winner would be the 7th seed. And then you have Golden State versus LA Lakers.
Adam Silver's having a wet dream over that matchup, bro.
I mean, you want to sell the play-in.
Hey, the West is loaded, dog.
It's loaded.
Hey, bro. LeBron versus those numbers, bro. We saw it last year, bro. A second round series going finals numbers, bro.
It really was.
And what I'll tell you about the Magendas that was coming out of that matchup. I told y'all, bro. Brian needed that win bad, bro. They was ready to go there. T. I told you so. Yeah. off one nasty, game, bro. Off one game, I was like, "See, I told y'all."
They was ready to put Stephen LeBron for a second round series, bro. BC, bro. What are they thinking, dog?
I don't know, bro, but
they're not thinking.
They not, dog. I mean, anybody know, bro.
They're not thinking.
But
Hey, Dre, I got a question for you. I actually saw this on my phone.
No, go ahead.
From that Bottle Stock page. He brought up a great point about Kevin Durant and why Kevin Durant gets so much hate. And I want to hear your thoughts about it because, number one, I know going to the Warriors, he was going to get hate from the Bron stands, but then because he was the best player, he was like, Kevin Durant also gets hate from the Steph stands, and those are the two biggest stand bases in the NBA. So it's like, does KD? It's like crazy because like when you think about it, he's got a point. KD got so much hate for going to the Warriors from the NBA media and Bron fans. Felt like KD got in the way of Bron getting more titles, and then because KD was clearly the best player on the Warriors, and got those two Finals MVPs. He gets a lot of backlash from the Steph fans. So when you got those two rabid fan bases against him, that pretty much drive the NBA right now. It's like KD, as crazy as it sounds, he doesn't get the respect he deserves, man. What do you think about that, Dre? And then you guys can.
It's funny because I'm really about to hit y'all with something real quick because I've been thinking about this for a minute. So let's take it back to when KD got into the league and Bron acknowledged him. Like, yeah, I can definitely see me and him going head-to-head battles over the years and everything. So people kind of compare that to like maybe another like Larry Bird, Magic Johnson type matchup because both their games seem like evolution remixes to Larry Bird and what Magic Johnson was doing in the 80s, going to the 90s. Yet things didn't really materialize like that because they only played each other once in the finals. And most of the time, it just seemed like LeBron was just a better player and had the better teams than KD, other than like short spurts. So the rivalry really didn't materialize. And then you had Steph Curry come in, and he's actually had the matchups, the wins, and kind of like the head-to-heads with Bron. So that kind of became like the new Larry Bird, Magic Johnson rivalry, not KD and Bron. So what did that makes KD? KD was this generation Isaiah Thomas.
I knew you were going there. I was doing it in my mind, and I was like, he's going to bring up Isaiah. I was like, I saw it coming.
Because what did Isaiah Thomas do? He went in there and he caused chaos around the league. He wasn't real light. He wasn't real respected. And you notice all the people in the media, Isaiah Thomas, like one of the biggest supporters of KD because he actually wants to see KD succeed. And I think it's because they both kind of had that same kind of career where it's like you can, off talent and off what you see, you can probably place him in top 10 pedigree all time off his talent. But because of how he handled certain situations and how the media perceived his career, KD is really going to be like in that top 15 range. And people are always going to question his greatness because of the certain moves he made, because he was like that instigator. He was like that person that kind of got in the way of people achieving more than they was really supposed to do. Because like Isaiah, it was supposed to be an easy transition between Magic and MJ, but he was causing problems for both of those players. And just like how KD went to the Warriors, he kind of like held Steph's pedigree low to a certain degree because you just went to somebody's team and won 2 Finals MVPs off him, and then you also stopped LeBron James probably winning at least 2 more guaranteed rings that he probably would want if KD never made that move. So that's why I was like, KD is really just this generation, Isaiah Thomas, and this is the consequence of making the certain moves, but you can't deny the talent that KD has.
Dang, that's a good comparison.
Yeah.
Dang, yeah.
That makes a lot of sense.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
When you look at the trajectory of KD's career, he did kind of disrupt everything, and it was supposed to be LeBron and KD for years in the finals, back and forth battles during the regular season, and then Steph gets drafted. He has the injuries, and then Steph just elevates the game and kind of brings in this new 3-point era. And it's like it all of a sudden now becomes Steph and LeBron versus each other. And then KD making the move that he made, it shocked everybody. And that kind of disrupted everything because it was like now he's the best player on arguably one of the best teams of all time. When in actuality, everybody thought Steph was supposed to be that leader on that team, and he kind of slid to the backup role. So I definitely see the comparisons.
If Klay Thompson doesn't go nuclear in Game 6, not only just in my opinion, BT, you can say if you agree, disagree. I know you're a big Bron fan, but if Klay Thompson does go nuclear, I think Oklahoma City actually was the best team that year. In my opinion, their roster, their size, their depth, I think they would have won the championship.
Yeah, they did.
They would have that
lose
year.
that series.
No, they was the best
I
team
actually
that
thought they
year.
were the best team.
Yeah, they were.
They had the depth, the size, the shooting, the scoring ability. They could lock you down.
Outside Andre Roberson, bum ass. Can't
Exactly.
shoot worth a
Outside
shit.
of him, couldn't hit the ocean if he was standing in front of it. But you're right,
Billy
T.
Donovan
That
was
year,
trash.
Oh,
that
Billy Donovan
year,
was the
OKC
coach
had
that year.
everything.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, like I wanted to see that finals, Bron and KD part 2, but I also wanted Bron to get his lip back against the Warriors. But yeah, OKC was the best team that year for sure.
That's the crazy thing. Like they didn't have like the best record and stuff, but man, that team
Definitely a what if scenario.
was crazy. We would have Bron and KD part 2, and let's
Yeah.
say Oklahoma City wins. KD stays. Who knows what happens? We just don't know. But like you said, KD kind of was that guy that just got in the way of that Bird Magic kind of.
And also, KD is just very vocal on social media, especially now that he don't do the whole burner thing anymore. He's not one of those players that's just gonna let a random troll like talk to him reckless. Like he's like, "What you talking about?" Like KD's IQ is so crazy, so it's like when you don't know what you're talking about, he's gonna make you look stupid.
Yeah,
exactly. So. And then he's just going to curse you out. Like we saw what he did. He got people trying to go to their lawyers or whatever because he was cussing them out in the DMs. What's old boy, old white boy? Can't think of his name, man.
Rappaport, man.
Yeah, Rappaport. Yeah, Bummer. Yeah, so like when KD do stuff like that, it runs people the wrong way. But at the end of the day, let's keep it a band. Like talent wise, he's probably one of the 10 best players that I ever watch or study in the game of in the NBA basketball. But of course, as we know, media dictates a person's legacy, their career, to how casuals look at certain things. So in the gist of things, until like KD wins another ring outside Golden State, they're not going to really give him the just dues that he really deserves until he's like retired. And when you look at all his highlights during his like Hall of Fame speech or anything like that.
Exactly. Yeah. He's definitely gonna be one of those that people are gonna realize they miss once he leaves. Because I mean, he's probably the last. I mean, he's gonna want to go down.
What's crazy? What people don't really talk about. KD is really a good showmanship. He really has great showmanship. Like he really gets interactive with the fans. Like he's one of those players that trash talks during the game. Like he really brings like the whole experience if you ever see him live at a basketball game. So I think even people probably won't admit it, but even in hating him, you kind of see the respect because you wouldn't hate him if you didn't think there was a threat to your favorite player's like trajectory or legacy. So there has to be some type of respect to it. It's just you just want to try to have like that one over him because of certain things that he did. But at the end of the day, if you're not going to be the person that's going to do it, just sit down and watch the show, man. Watch PG greatness.
I mean, when KD talks trash to somebody in their own language, I knew what it was. Like when he trash talk somebody, trash talk a French player and speak and shit talk them in French.
That's why
I knew what was up.
Yeah.
Because let's never forget, we had certain people rooting for his downfall against for his agenda against your own country. Saddest shit I ever saw in my life. Saddest shit I saw in my life.
Well, you know what network it happened on. You know what network it happened on. I'll leave it at that.
Well,
yep.
We're gonna wrap it up right there, fellas. This was a great discussion all about hoops. Continue to follow us, everybody. Subscribe. Check us out on YouTube. Follow all our Instagrams, social media accounts for Savs and Four Podcast. Continue to follow us. Get those subscribes and likes up. Tell your friends, your neighbors, anybody that loves hoop sports. Continue to get us. We got more content coming out. We're going to get into more probably of the bracketology next week as March is going to be rolling up. We're going to look at these brackets, see who got snubbed, who we think should be higher and who's going to bring down the Nets in the Final Four in the national championship. Then we'll definitely continue this hot discussion about what happens in the association. You know, the standings are ever changing. As we said, the West is deep. You can go from being in the top 6 out of the play in one loss. And, you know, we'll see if Boston continues to run away with the East and whether the implications with Embiid going forward. So thank y'all for joining us.
Hey, hold on, Brad. Hey, Dave, BT, I think it's almost time for part 2, don't y'all think?
Yeah, we got to do that.
I was about to say, we got more women's college hoops on the way. We
gotta get that part 2.
Okay, y'all gonna preview the women's bracket as well. We got some
a lot of stuff to break down, a lot of stuff to talk about.
There's a lot to talk about.
Shout out to our fellas doing that as well. So yeah, I think we got some boxing coming up soon. Terrence, I think we got a big matchup coming up. BT as well.
Canelo, stop running, Canelo.
We'll definitely have to have some conversations about certain.
Please.
You running like you doing something. Stop
Canelo, you gotta come
get me started, please.
Canelo, you gotta come on trial because we might have to have a rant corner because Canelo, he is fully running at this point. We'll definitely bring that.
We need a rant corner on that, man. We need a rant corner on that.
So look out for another rant corner session. We're going to be talking about some boxing coming up real soon, more hoops. And then, just continue to follow us. Again, like, share, subscribe. And this is Sabs and 4, and we are out.
Appreciate y'all for listening, man.